Welcome to Coach's Corner, Girls Tennis Edition. I'm Spencer Barber, along here with Aiden Ahuja for HWTV. We're here today with Coach Jelena Durisic of the Varsity Girls Tennis Program. The Wolverines are an impressive 6-1 this year and are preparing for the opening of league play.
Before we get started, could you tell us about your coaching time at Harvard Westlake, how long you've been coaching, and how long you've been around the sport?
So I started coaching at Harvard Westlake, I think in 2015. I was an assistant for 2 years, and when the program had decided to leave, we had a discussion, and she wanted me to take over. So I took over, and I've been here ever since. I think this is my 6th year, and I've stopped counting after 2. And it's been a great journey, and I'm super excited. And every year is just a different year and a different vibe, as they say. And so that's my Harvard Westlake. And then how long have I been in the sport? Well, I started playing when I was 6, and I competed in junior tennis in college and in pros. So I think over 25 years. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, Coach, a challenge that occurs every year is the graduation of your senior players, and with that, you're like team captains and role models. Is there anyone you would say that this year has stepped up to fill that role?
Well, yeah, certainly last year's team was packed with a lot of seniors, and they were tremendous to our contribution and the way the results were. Based off of last year, it was very hard to expect someone new to come in and just start quickly picking up the leadership. But I have to say, my senior class this year has been tremendous. Like, they're probably some of the girls that have been with me for the longest, ever since middle school. And Annabelle Nickel, Zoe Shin are the captains. But I also want to point out that I have 3 other seniors who basically have been with me for a while, and they're also great leaders, great role models, and I think they picked it up very quickly. And in fact, I think this year it started off like very, very well. No issues, and they just took on the leadership role very strongly. I think they take care of the team very well. So I don't feel like there was a big difference. Considering that last year we lost 6-7 seniors. I stopped even counting. It's definitely been a nice, smooth transition.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say you guys have been off to a hot start with a 6-1 record. How are you guys preparing differently while coming into league play?
I had a conversation with a lot of the returning players in the spring, and I told them that they're going to have to step up and they're going to have to train on their own before they come into the season, which they really took to heart. My freshmen from last year going into this year really took a lot of time in the summer to train and improve on certain things. My juniors that are now seniors, they understood that they are going to have to be more of a leadership role. And they're going to have to carry the team in a sense where they have to teach these youngsters who come in on the squad how to play certain formations, how to match up in certain matches, and I think they did that very well. I'm not even joking. From the beginning, like the first weekend, we had some tough practices, and we had to deal with some conditions. Like we had the heat wave, which definitely a lot of other teams were canceling things for us. They were like, no, we want to be on the court. We want to train. And that, to me, was such a positive opportunity to improve and just push ourselves and develop as a team. And the dynamic has been amazing, honestly. We have a couple of new players who came in either for the first time or they're returning after taking a little break. And overall, I've been very happy. I have to say, they're much tougher, they're much more competitive, and overall, it's been a smooth ride when it comes to the team dynamic. I have to say, we've had difficult things like dealing with the weather and courts or scheduling, but other than that, on-court practices have been incredibly intense, and they liked it. So, yeah.
So obviously, Coach, mentality is a huge part of the game. How would you say that you have kept your girls' mentalities up despite your huge success going 6-1 in the start of your season?
Well, I think that's just it. We have to keep pushing to be better. Last week we had our first loss, and it was to a team that's basically ranked number one in Southern Cal, and our energy was not the best. And I think once the girls saw that, they understood that they're a lot better than what they showed. And going into this week when we started the league, they definitely worked on that. They improved it. They were more aware of it, and the mentality, like every week, is different because obviously we're in a very demanding academic school. So it's being able to manage the stress of academics and then showing up in the afternoons to play your best tennis. So I try to keep a gauge on everyone's schedules. I try to keep a gauge on everyone, how they're feeling. But overall, I think that the support that they have within each other is been great. And I think they're handling things a lot better, and they're communicating, and they know that when one is lacking a little bit or struggling, the other ones step up. So far, it's been a very evened out team from top to bottom. I cannot say that I have a top to bottom team. I think I have a very even team, and every single one is ready to step up when someone else is not feeling it that day. So.
And yeah, like building off of that, how do you think the team has formed a bond or built that chemistry this year?
I think it starts with the seniors. What they did in the summertime, they started connecting to a lot of these girls and talking about what kind of team bonding activities they're going to do and what they can do to be a better team and better teammates to each other. And they also have very strong friendships off the court. And I know that a lot of them spend time with each other in school. And that was definitely the transition going into the fall, which it made it very smooth as we started off the team practices and the team matches, and the camaraderie has been great. They're very excited to cheer for each other. Whereas considering that tennis is an individual sport, and a lot of these girls focus on their own individual results, this year they really came into it thinking of themselves as a teammate and a true team. And it's been great, honestly. Like this is, I don't remember ever having such a smooth transition going into the fall, where all the girls are on the same page. Every single one is there for each other. When they notice that the energy is lacking, they're like, okay, we need to step up all together. It cannot just be just one or two. It's the entire squad. So that's how I feel.
Coach, can you walk us through what a typical varsity practice is like? Do you focus on one skill in particular every practice, or do you practice a variety of skills?
Well, when we start the season, we definitely focus a lot more on fitness and making sure that these girls have enough cardio, endurance, and then working on certain power plays, as I call them, developing their strengths even more as we go into the first matches, because it's important to start off confidently in the season. You want those first wins to get the ball rolling. And so I definitely push them quite a bit, running sprints, doing a lot of lunges and squats, and, I call them penalties when they make mistakes on certain shots that they shouldn't make mistakes on. And then as the season progresses, I have to make sure that, I'm not overworking them in between matches, because you don't want an injury at the end of the day. You want to protect their bodies, and you want to make sure that they're feeling fresh because obviously with the academic schedule, it's not easy. And I want these girls to get enough sleep. I want them to have the right nutrition. And that also transfers into, on-court activities. We spend about 2 hours maximum a day. But when they're with me for those 2 hours, it's intense. I will push them. At the beginning, they do the warm-ups. They have to make sure that everything's nice and loose and stretched out. And then as we finish the practice, I usually end with some intense competition, whether it's sprints or it's a group game. But overall, if I notice that they start to get a little bit lower on the energy within the week, I try to take it easier, whether they play some points or we mix it up and have more girls on the court. But it'll just depend from week to week. As the season comes towards the end, which is when I need them to be at their best, I try to focus a little bit again on the endurance part. So we do a little bit more running. We add a few more drills where it pushes your lungs to be a little bit more expanded. But overall, I think they're doing great. And then once the off season hits, we try to get them into the gym. We try to build their muscles, and develop them a little bit more physically. Because in season, when you're competing, it's hard to do that. You want them just to be fresh, and you want them to be fast. So.
And even with a great record, every team has its set of challenges through the year. What have been some of the biggest challenges this year so far, and upcoming ones that you see in terms of teams that you play?
To be honest, the challenges that I've had were more like logistics when it came to scheduling and the weather conditions. I was prepared to have challenges like within the group, but I really don't. And the heat wave that hit us kind of made us we had to reschedule a couple of matches. And then what happened was the matches got stacked. So it was like 3 matches in 1 week, which is tough because these girls are missing out on a couple of classes, and then they have to play catch up. But they were troopers, honestly. They took it like no issues. In fact, like when we played some of the other teams, the teams were complaining about heat, and my girls were like, this is not even bad. So that was probably one of the challenges in the beginning of this season. Some of it is also, adapting to me, as a coach, because all of them have their own individual coaches. So when they come into the season, all of a sudden, it's my voice that they hear, and sometimes they might not like what I say, and they have to adjust. But my goal for these girls is to be better tennis players, better teammates, better friends to each other, and by the end of the season, hopefully, they're playing better tennis because of all of these things. I try to push them, out of their comfort zone. And so, sometimes they don't like the pushback, and it's normal. I mean, I understand it. I was a player once too, and when your coach is putting you in situations where you're being challenged, and you're not feeling it every day, like it's your best. It's not easy. So I think the mentality is okay. Like we can get through this. It will get better. You got to believe in yourself. And on the days when you struggle mentally or emotionally, like you have others to support you there. So. Yeah, these are some, but overall, I would say I had more issues with the weather than anything else.
Earlier, you mentioned those girls on your team who stepped up into the leadership roles. Do you have any girl or girls in particular that we should be keeping our eyes on moving into league play?
Like I mentioned, a lot of the girls really stepped up. My seniors have been tremendous in leading the team and showing the younger ones, how to get things done. They've been on some successful teams in the past, so they know what it looks like. So I definitely want to give a shout out to my girls Zoe, Annabelle, Madeline Chen, Samantha Plagueman, and Lou Zapata. Those girls have been with me for the longest, and we have a new addition of Emily Silkina, who is a senior this year. She didn't play for us for a couple of years, and now she's back, and she jumped right in. And then, the youngsters that I would like to highlight is the new addition of Sunny Lou. She decided to play this year. She's a highly ranked junior player. And she's got a bubbly personality. She fit right in. My freshmen coming in, Emily Stuntman and Finn, are amazing. They also bonded very quickly with the upperclassmen, which was great. Sometimes, the freshmen, they feel a little bit awkward coming in, and these two fit awesome, and the energy has been great. Sophomores, Sofia Bakhtiari and Mimi Ree, those girls. They worked really hard in the summer, and I could tell coming into this season they were ready to take on more. Last year, considering that we got to the States, it was a lot of upperclassmen leading the way, and now they want to take on that challenge. They want to be the ones leading the team, whether it's doubles or singles. So honestly, like I said, it's a very evened out team. They make my life difficult I feel almost stressed out because I want to play every single one of them. They all stand out. We have new additions this year who came from JV and who worked incredibly hard Tanya, Everly, every single one in every match that I've put them in has performed great. So I cannot say I have a specific standout because they have all been delivering amazing work on court. So yeah, I hope that answers. It's tough because this is as a coach, it's a challenge when it's so evened out that I put them in different situations, and every single one was ready to step up, whether it was singles or doubles. And I can mix them this year, which is incredible. I still don't know what my best combinations are because they're all very, very competitive, and they all do a great job.
And I think a lot of people are wondering, like, how much scouting goes into this in terms of what teams that you're going to play, what teams that you've already played. Like, how much do you anticipate those teams?
I definitely scout in a sense where I pay attention to what happens like every season, who we have opponents as. I look at them based off of like what classes, what grades certain girls are in, and I know if those girls are going to be returning or not. And tennis is a small world, so you'll hear the rumors of who's coming in or who's going out, and who's playing well. I do that in my off season. I try to see a little bit of what's going on around CIFs. But overall, I always have an idea of which teams are going to be challenging. Like Westlake is definitely one of those teams that we always have a battle against, and they always have a great team. This year, the surprise was Granada Hills. I really had no idea about these girls that came in, and we got challenged a little. We got pushed, but my girls, even with that challenge, like delivered. Like they were ready, and I told them, I was like, we don't take anyone lightly. We want to come on there and we want to be the best versions of ourselves. And then if our energy is high, if we put the effort in, I think the results will speak for themselves, which at this point they are. And whether it's league match, whether it's an out of league match, we try to find out if there's anyone that we want to be aware of. But overall, I say let's take care of our own business, and then everything else will everything else will be taken care of as long as we focus on ourselves.
Is there any aspect of your game or of the team's game in particular that you've been working harder to improve on in practice?
Yeah, I think my doubles combinations, we always try to find the right doubles combinations, and this year's been challenging because, like I said, every single one can go anywhere. And finding that strong combination, in my opinion, like I have multiple ones, and it's just choosing the matchups against certain teams. And that's been a bit of a challenge for me as a coach because I think the girls have been doing a tremendous job of working hard and trying to fit in with each other, and you have to get used to playing with different partners and day in and day out. So we've been focusing on doubles. Singles wise, we try to work a little bit on their individual themes, like whether it's like a certain ground stroke or a certain pattern, because we do have a lot of girls with similar, I don't want to call them issues, but similar things where they tend to struggle against certain players. So we try to focus on that in practice, and then hopefully to transfer that work into the match. But overall, the doubles has definitely been the one thing to work on, and they've been doing well. It's just me being particular and trying to find the best option.
Thank you so much, Coach, for coming by. Thanks for tuning in with us here on Coach's Corner with Coach Durisic, and good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you.
I'm Aiden Ahuja along with Spencer Barber, and we'll catch you next time on Coach's Corner. Go Wolverines!